Hey, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Sunday evening? It's the last Sunday night show of the year. So let's celebrate what this year was all about. Let's talk about some craziness with the U.S. Open Cup and all the big changes coming to MLS in 2024. And I know Ed has got some opinions on some of these changes and specifically about the U.S. Open Cup. So everybody say hello to everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Ed. How you doing, Ed?
How's it going, Peter? Don't you use Messi? Just pass me my coffee. Thank you so much. Don't
All
you use
right, great,
Messi?
great.
She's awesome, man. Any similarities in the name with the player is just coincidental, by the way.
Pure coincidence.
Nothing but coincidence. How's it going, Peter?
Going great. Everything's great. Excited for the holiday coming up, and
I, I missed you. Last show. As a matter of fact, Marco got sick also, so I did both shows by myself.
wow, wow. Well,
I'm proud of my.
I'm sure it was better. It was better that way.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, I've got it. It's like we've talked about, like my split, you know, loves Disney and Inter Miami, and so I pay for both. So I got to make sure, I make it worth my while and my pay to make sure I get enough Disney trips in there. So, you know, but at
I
least
don't
I'm
blame.
not. At least Disney's better than hanging out with the old people in Ocala, Ed.
I've been doing that a lot lately myself.
I
I
don't know.
mean, you
I've got
go because
concerns. I've got concerns that Uncle Ed might be telling me in the near future that he's going to be relocating to Ocala with all
I'm
the
not
old
that
people,
I'm not that old yet, Peter. I know you
hang
go
out with the
because your dad's
horses.
up there. You go because of your dad, but I go because my daughter moved up there for some
Yep.
reason. She thought it was going to be better, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes if they can withstand the Ocala lack of things to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's not. Well, I mean, there's a lot of horse related things. I don't know. My sister always finds things to entertain us while when we go up there because she's there as well. So she always takes us to fun outdoor places. And I sent you that picture of that train ride that we did. And
Oh, that
we always find some things to do there. Anyways, we're not here to talk about Ocala. We're here to talk about Inter Miami and anything else soccer related in South Florida that you want to talk about. So everybody get busy in the chat. And as always, if you, oops, wrong. That's an old thing. Where is it?
but
If
Iswar is good for
that
Miami.
was an old lower third I had. If you want to leave us a voicemail, call 786-474-4435. I have two voicemails already lined up. So you want to jump in and have your voice heard, give us a call. But get busy in the chat because we've got a few things to talk about tonight, but we also want to spend time just talking to you in the chat and whatever things you want to discuss. So get busy in the chat on this last show of 2023, which kind of crept up on me, Ed. I didn't realize, when I was thinking about the show tonight, that it was the last one because, we're clearly not going to do a show on Christmas Eve. And it doesn't make any sense to do one on New Year's Eve, really. Everybody's got better things to do than to
Yeah,
listen to us bitch and moan about Enter Miami.
that's true. So it's tonight's the dirtiest that we're gonna talk. Well, messiest, get it, dirtiest talk
Um,
on earth. So guys, definitely get on there.
but before
Follow
we
it.
before we go too far, let's give a big thank you to our sponsors, and that starts with Caneswear. Caneswear is located in Davie, Florida, off University Drive, just south of 595. They've got the best selection of Inter Miami gear for the best prices in town. And I know they've got all kinds of Christmas deals. It's not too late to go Christmas shopping at Caneswear. Hours are up on the screen. They're open until 7 p.m. most days of the week. So go in and get yourself a good deal on some Inter Miami Messi. Lots of Messi shirts there. More than what you see on the screen right now. They've got tons of Messi shirts for a really good price. So go support our friends over at Caneswear and do your Christmas shopping there. And
Peter Brown, the goat of all realtors, Mia Rodrigues, also she supports this show. You guys got to get out there if you want to invest in South Florida. She's the one to talk to. She's even on TV. She's doing a show. she's all over the place, guys. So, yeah, she's doing the American Dream. And if you want to be on the American Dream, just contact Mia Rodriguez. She's doing that casting call. You guys could be famous. Your property or your business could be on her show. So definitely contact Mia Rodriguez.
All right, all right. So let's say hello to a few folks that are in the chat, Ed.
Peter Brown, I forgot my phone.
All right, I
And
got
that's
you
how
covered.
usually I get. So I get. Yeah, I'm not really prepared today.
All right, we'll start off with the first person I see in the chat. If you were before this person, then mention, say hi again. So first person I see in the chat, welcome everybody. Baldwin is in the chat. Let's go. I want to whine about the U.S. Open Cup. All right, let's do it. We definitely could do that. Kevin Gonzalez wishing everybody a happy holiday. One world, one goal, as always. Splitting her time between us and NASCAR, usually. Francisco Garcia is here. Luis Rodrigues, the pot stirrer of them all, is in the chat.
Stirring that pot.
El Pelon Aparicio is here.
Armando, how you doing,
Armando, all right. And we also see Tank also complaining a little bit about the MLS Open, about the Open Cup regarding MLS. And there still could be a Miami Derby, so we could still talk about that. It's not completely no MLS. Who else? And that's all I see for now. So if you want to get in, get in. Francisco saying it's a rainy night in Bogota, Colombia.
Nice. Watching us in Colombia. Must be cold over there.
Yeah.
Up in the mountains.
Once in a while, one of my Colombian team members for my company are watching, but I don't see them right now.
But they're in Medellin.
Seems like where I'm reading in the chat where people might want to start is U.S. Open Cup, because here's the kind of things I had in mind to talk about. U.S. Open Cup, not in any particular order. U.S. Open Cup. We could talk about the MLS changes or lack thereof. We need to at least spend a little bit of time on that because I've got some thoughts on that. And my wife threw out a topic that I think I had a hard time describing to you, Ed. You were having a hard time grasping this topic. I thought it was the easiest topic to mention, and you asked me so many questions about it. So I either did a poor job in explaining it, or but my wife's idea was for us as a group, all of us, those of you in the chat, to kind of mention your top 5 Inter Miami things this year. So moments, things that happened, whatever, regarding Miami. So if we have time for that near the end of the show, maybe we throw that in there, kind of like, because it's the end of the year, time to look back.
I could only think of 2 of them, to tell you the truth.
All right. Well, I got a few more, but I also didn't sit down. So I had a very busy day. Had it not been so busy, I would have had some graphics with some real list, but I didn't do that. So I do have a good 3 or 4 that I think could go on a list of things, but we'll see if we have time for that one. But I thought that my wife trying to contribute to the show. How about that?
That's good.
But I see. Hang on. Before we get too far, I do see some more new people in the chat. Marvin Mieles is here from Ecuador. Tony Axe, pissed off about the lack of roster rule changes.
We are
Guyver is here. And that's it. All right. So let's go back and just talk a little bit. And again, I have some voicemail. So if you want to leave your voicemail, please do so. Let's do this. Let's talk about the U.S. Open Cup. Then we'll take your voicemails, and then we'll go on to another topic, like rules, things like that. Let's try to do that tonight. But Open Cup, Ed. So MLS has said no more, or at least for the 2024 season, no more MLS teams in the U.S. Open Cup. Did that come to you? Did that come as a surprise to you? Because it was not a surprise to me.
Well, yeah, Major League Soccer is basically doing whatever they want, which is, becoming more and more of a trend. They do, the U.S. Soccer Federation, they don't have what you would, call balls anymore. So, except for soccer balls. And they just basically do whatever Major League Soccer wants to do. And I think it's, in all the other countries in the world, the leagues are under the federations. U.S. Soccer Federation needs to grow a pair and say, look, guys, you need to do what we tell you to do, not the other way around. And so, there you go.
You can keep talking when I do transitions, Ed.
But that was cool. I like.
Don't let it mess you up.
So yeah, it's I want you to jump in and
right.
Your
so
thoughts.
I see it a little bit differently. Again, I wasn't surprised because Garber said, I think it was back in May or June, in a press conference, he was, or some conversation, he was saying that the U.S. Open Cup is not at the level of MLS clubs. That it's kind of, it may be an old prestigious tournament, but it is not being handled with the much class or whatever that it needs to be held. Look, the games are being broadcast on the Bleacher Report YouTube channel and their website. That is low budget, low quality, great for Bleacher Report, but congratulations to them. But if this is your oldest tournament, it needs to be treated with respect. It needs to have its own TV deal. They need to be playing and with a better product on as far as to see the eyes across the globe, right? It needs to be broadcast everywhere. Not only this past year when it got to I think the quarterfinals, it was on Paramount Plus, but before that, good luck finding it the game. So Don Garber basically said it's not at the level of MLS, and this is a step down for us. And so it was not a surprise to me to see them pull the trigger because he pretty much warned them. But at the same time, he said something to the effect that he wants it to do well, but they're just not. U.S. Soccer is doing a crappy job promoting the U.S. Open Cup. Nobody respects the U.S. Open Cup until, MLS teams don't play their best players until they get to the quarterfinals. It's just nobody goes to the games. Fans don't respect it. Stadiums are empty. So I don't blame MLS for saying, get your act together or we're going to go find something else to do. We've got plenty of other fixtures to play in. We've got, the League's Cup, Champions Cup, all that cups. So
that Major League Soccer, wants to make money on. They're not making money on US Open Cup. So,
I don't know if I agree that it's only because, hey, we need to make money. Because if that was the case, they would have pulled. But they would have pulled the plug years ago. Then like they all of a sudden became greedy.
Well, no, yeah,
they've been there. They've been that.
Oh, yeah, but now they've got Messi, so they don't want Messi playing a U.S. Open Cup. They want them to play a Leagues Cup because they've got control of that tournament.
See, I don't know. I think that's everybody trying to look at conspiracy theory stuff, and I don't think that's it. I think it's solely that it is an inferior, the cup, the way it's presented is an inferior product. I don't mean about the gameplay and the excitement. And I love the tournament. So I'm just trying to look at it from the other point of view. It's an inferior product for Messi. You don't want Messi sitting there, the game being only broadcast on the Bleacher Report website. That's your only way to watch it? That's terrible. That's dumb.
But I think it's understandable that, of course, next year it's going to be a bigger deal. Well, now not anymore because Major League Soccer isn't playing.
You say that, but the deal was still the same. The plan was still to put it on Bleacher Report and USO and then YouTube, and not until the later rounds to put it on CBS.
I don't think that would have been the case. I think they already put the last few games on Paramount. You said I think it was.
That's where it was. Yes.
Yeah, and I just think Major League Soccer wants to make more money on where they can control the games, and look, they're going to Asia, and they're going to make a lot of money on that tour. I just think they're just out for the money right now, man. I think Major League Soccer doesn't, I agree, inferior product, etc. But it's a tradition. Even Messi has played the Copa del Rey, which is basically the U.S. Open Cup. So he's used to it. Inferior teams against the big teams from La Liga.
Yeah, I don't I don't.
What do the people say? Let's see what
All
they
right, all
say.
right. So here, Pluri. I don't even know what he's saying here, but he did say something. Peter Garber has been gearing up for this for a while. They have a ridiculously long playoff format, makeup of BS tournament, Leagues Cup, and now they say the U.S. Open Cup's fault not being relevant. Yeah, but look at it like MLS is trying because some could argue that they haven't gotten there either, but they're trying to raise their level of product, and they have U.S. Open Cup isn't. I blame, and you sort of did this a little bit, Ed. I blame the U.S. Soccer Federation. You did too, in a different way.
Yeah.
You did too,
Yeah.
but differently. You're blaming them for letting MLS walk all over them, do whatever they want. I'm blaming them for not treating this tournament the way should have been treated for the last 100 years. The U.S. Soccer is the ones that are in charge of promoting and putting out as far as a product. I'm not talking about the games. The games are the games. I mean, if you're playing a low-level team, it is what it is. But I mean, the product that you see on TV or promoting it so that stadiums would be full, that people give a damn, because most people don't. Our viewers here in this chat care, but this is a small group of people compared to the country. So I blame U.S. Soccer for not doing a good enough job with this tournament. Now, having said all this, MLS is still sort of in this tournament. I saw somebody mentioning that they no more Miami, Classico, and there still can be, but it's now going to be Inter Miami 2. So it will be all the two teams, all the MLS Next Pro teams are going to be taking the place of the MLS club. So there still can be some sort of a rivalry.
Well, that's an opportunity for all the lower leagues to.
It's a great opportunity.
Tournament, yeah, they need to win this tournament and show them, Major League Soccer, you're not as tough as you think you are. And your second
team, One World One Goal says, "We are the best group of people, though, Peter," and that is true. That is true. That's something else to think about. The fact that they are giving a real tournament to their developmental teams, a tournament that matters to their developmental players. That's potentially can be a great learning experience for these college kids, the young guys that have just gotten out of college that we drafted, and so on and so forth. Giving them an actual, because they're creating all these tournaments that, like you said, MLS controls for the MLS teams. But now, in a sense, they've gifted. They didn't create it, but they've gifted a tournament to their developmental teams, and that's big, because now it's going to be a tough road for them because a Miami FC has a good chance to beat up on Inter Miami 2 team. Less of a chance to beat Messi and friends, right? But they've got a pretty decent opportunity to beat our reserves.
And the winner will be in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So that's a good
It is, yeah.
thing.
I was trying to go back and see. There's just a lot of conversation with CCL as well. Tank is saying U.S. Open Cup would be great for the bench players to get time on the pitch in real matches, which is what we're talking about now. That is your reserves club. Because, I mean, currently that's the way U.S. Open Cup is really handled anyways. MLS teams basically field their bench players until it matters, right? In the last, I think, 2 times we played it in the Miami Classico, we started mostly our bench players until the game got a little harder than they thought. And then they had to bring in their starters in the second half. So Inter Miami, that is. So, that's interesting. Mike V jumping in saying the EPL has the FA Cup, which is comparable to the US Open Cup. It has a similar history. It is optional to participate, and Premier League teams don't enter till the third round if they want to. And they usually play subs unless in final stages. Yeah, same way U.S. Open Cup's been handled here. So I think it's a shame, that we're not in it, but I think it is a good opportunity for the MLS Next Pro teams. Chris Arjun saying the U.S. Open Cup is something Inter won't take seriously now. Last season, the Inter reserves team starting 11 for their first game and had none of them playing at the end of the season. Yeah, so exactly. So if the MLS club is not going to take the tournament serious, why not hand it off to some younger guys that will take it serious?
Well, the other leagues will definitely. USL definitely. There's been some issues lately because it's apparent that Major League Soccer wants to have like that ladder. I'm probably getting a little ahead, Peter, but
Go ahead.
So USL also has they're proposing a relegation type of promotion relegation type of thing. Major League Soccer kind of is, or just doing the pyramid thing, but not really with the relegation idea. But it's apparent that Major League Soccer kind of wants to push USL away. So if things continue the way they are, if they're able to build that second division that Major League Soccer wants to do, it's possible that it's going to hurt USL. And now's the time for USL to say, you know what, we're going to win that tournament, and we're going to get our best team in Champions League, and and maybe they can fight to get the U.S. Soccer Federation. Difficult though. MLS has got too much power to give them a chance for maybe if not first division, second division exclusivity.
Speaking of USL, it's going to get it's about to get a little more interesting too, and I'm curious to see how this pans out. But I'm not sure if anybody saw this, but West Palm Beach is planning on having a USL Championship club as well. They've announced there's this guy there. It's international polo star Nacho Figueres is going to bring professional men's and women's soccer to the Palm Beaches. But that probably won't happen until 2025. But he wants to bring the USL Super League, which is the new women's professional league, and then planning on launching a USL Championship club as well. So you potentially, if Miami FC can stick around, because we've heard rumors that people talking about they may or may not stick around much longer, but if they can manage to stick around, they may have a new rival up in West Palm Beach, which also could become very interesting with the U.S. Open Cup and potentially, one of our teams, whether it be the lower level or the MLS level team playing as well. Louis Rodrigues mentioning as well. Jacksonville has also announced a USL team as well for 2025. And also the Jacksonville Armada, which is an old NASL club that has been announced also as, I think, a championship. I'm not sure if it was championship or League One, but they're moving into USL as well. So there's potentially two
Jacksonville teams.
Mike V says the West Palm Beach logo will be, you can't see me because I live in a gated community. Hey, if they create whenever this happens, I'd go and check it out. I'm not saying I go to all the games because my main priority is Inter Miami, but I'd go check out a West Palm Beach game. It's not too far from me. I was actually just up there earlier today in the Wellington area, which is just west of West Palm Beach. So, but so USL Championship is growing. And like you said, they do have thoughts of promotion relegation. Paul McDonough is over there leading the charge. They've got a new women's league they want to kind of get, put together. And then you were talking about something earlier today, and this kind of plays a part in the U.S. Open Cup and also USL and all that kind of stuff. But our friend Kartik Krishnaiyer, if you don't know who he is, he writes over on World Soccer Talk, but he had a thought on Twitter about, and I want you to go into more detail, Ed, but a thought about the Canadian teams getting kicked out of MLS and going to the Canadian Premier League, and you're all for this.
Yeah, the reason why is because FIFA, they've got like I know there's some rule where teams from other federations can't play in other leagues, and Major League Soccer is an exception because back in the day, Canada didn't have a league, but now they have their Premier League, and there are teams there, and we have three MLS Canadian teams right now, which I think are desperately needed in that Premiership group because those teams are powerful. I think it would also benefit Major League Soccer because they want more expansion teams. Those are three extra U.S. cities. We got plenty of cities in the United States that want to play Major League Soccer. How would they kick them out? I mean, would FIFA, step this up?
That's just, these owners don't want to leave MLS. I mean, right? So somebody would have to come along and say, "You're out." U.S. Soccer Federation maybe getting pressure from FIFA, like you said, but the U.S. Soccer Federation, we've already made a point about them being kind of weak, and then they kowtow to MLS. So now you're expecting U.S. Soccer Federation to grow some balls and go and tell these owners that I know that you spent millions and millions and millions of dollars to get into this league, but now we're going to kick you out. They can't just kick him out. They would have to create some sort of buyout, right? They would end up, and in that regard, the clubs probably make money because those three clubs got into the league when it was cheaper than what it currently is now, upwards of $500 million to get into the league. So they would get booted out. I think it could be good for Canadian soccer but is the Canadian Premier League solid enough, stable enough to survive? And do teams like Toronto that have a very stable foundation want to go and play in something that might be a little shaky? It's like MLS 1.0 all over again. I mean, their Premier League is more similar to USL than it is to MLS.
And that's true, Peter. But if the money's there, if they get a buyout, which they think will be, beneficial to them, it really would come down to whether FIFA wants to actually exercise their right to tell them, hey, go to the Canadian League, and MLS would make the money back with the new franchises anyway. So
sure,
I don't think they lose money. They might even make money off of this deal. The Canadian teams will make money too, but there is that question that you raised, which is, will that league survive? You'll have three powerful teams and a whole bunch of smaller teams.
Tony Axe feels like this would be terrible for Canadian soccer. I mean, I don't know if I agree. I think it would be good in that you're putting three strong foundation teams. I mean, they've got money, they've got a strong foundation, they've got great stadiums. They're strong foundation teams, and putting them into a league and now forcing them. I think it's making them create their own MLS. I think it would be good for Canadian football, but it would take time. And right. Tony Axe also said MLS is following the NBA and NHL model, not the traditional soccer model. Yeah, of course, it was totally the Major League Baseball type of thing where you've got the Toronto Blue Jays and all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense. Hey, look, this is this is a great topic to get. As One World One Goal says, get Kaylin Kyle on the show to talk Canadian ideas. This would be a great topic to talk about with Kaylin. We need to work on that, Ed.
Yeah, I had already reached out before. She put a couple of smiles, and that's.
Well, keep going. Just keep bugging her.
I'll keep bugging her.
Yeah. All right. Let's do what I mentioned before. Let's go to voicemail, and then let's talk about something else. Let's see what our two voicemails have to say.
It's time for your voicemail.
Hello?
All right. Here we go.
Well, what's up, mi gente? It's been more than a minute. It's your boy Yankee Yank. First off, to all of those of you who celebrate holidays, happy holidays to you. To all the listeners, may you all be blessed. I hope you're all well. It's been quite a while since I've called into the show. Of course, I check the show out regularly. I check out the show on Monday nights too, in mi otro idioma, with Tio and also. So I checked out of soccer for quite a while because, quite honestly, this connects down the drive tank. I was devastated after Puerto Rico was so close to qualifying the men for Gold Cup back in June. And I got all up into my feelings, and I literally shut down for months and months. So about the only thing soccer-wise I've been doing is I've been checking out you all's show and your journey. And, if you have a team that's never qualified for something, been close, some of you will get it, some of you won't. Some of you will think, well, they're minnows. But, it's when you put your love, time, dedication into a team, it can hit you hard. So you guys I'm not blaming you, but we are now in a new version of MLS. That's just my opinion. And Messi arriving to Miami has been a huge part of that. I'm sorry about the fans that have been displaced. I'm sorry about the fans that have been pushed out and felt like they've been done dirty and outpriced. I'm sorry about the fact that MLS isn't competing in U.S. Open Cup this upcoming year. The market forces and everything has changed, and quite honestly, I just ain't really feeling it, and I ain't really with it. Sometimes things happen that people want, and it's not exactly what they hoped it would be, and I know some of y'all are going through that. But best wishes in 2024 for y'all that are still riding with the Herons and still riding. And holler at you later, players.
Great to hear from Yankee Boy. His old school. If those of you that are new to the channel or whatever, Yankee Boy's been listening to us, watching us for over 10 years. Different formats, whether it be here or whether it was audio only on our old format, but been around for a long time. Interesting thing was that he was very involved with what was going on in South Florida soccer. Meanwhile, he lives in Maryland, which was an odd thing. And American guy that loves Puerto Rico, and right now, he was saying, he's feeling the pain, Ed.
Yeah, and the great thing about Yankee, he was so involved with soccer down here. He even had his own little section
On
in our show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. People used to, always talk about all his comments, and glad to see him still around.
Yeah. All right, one more here, and then we'll move on. Unless you guys have another voicemail. Again, 786-474-4435.
Hola, Peter and Uncle Ed and all the great fans, old and new. It's Italia, One World, One Goal. Just want to say very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Can't believe this year flew by. And I was reflecting back a little bit. I was listening to the end of the 25 for 25 Miami Fusion podcast that they're finishing up. And what memories. We really had great times. We made great friends, some of them lifelong. And I'm so thrilled. If you think about it, we got our team back. As much as we may complain from time to time, it's really a miracle. We got the team back. And you could not find better friends or finer fans than you guys, especially all the work you did. We kind of found each other from this particular version of the podcast through the pandemic. Really provided hope for everybody, a great space to just really be yourselves, talk about soccer, food, music, and always keep a cheerful, upbeat attitude. So love you guys, love the show, couldn't live without you. And from old to new, everyone, I'm sure the Moss brothers love you, and Beckham and all the great fans for all the work you guys do. I just want to say thank you from me and Diego Serna, number 17, of course, loves you guys forever. So hope everyone has a really happy holiday season. Thanks again. Great show. Love you. Bye.
All right, wouldn't be a last show of the year without a voicemail from One World, One Goal. So good to hear from her. So, Ed, there were supposed to be some changes this year. We thought there was rumors that there was going to be a fourth DP and that there was going to be a fairly large increase in the salary cap. Now, there is an increase in the salary cap. It's not getting talked about, but there is an increase. It's a little over $600,000, but that's not anything new. That was already planned as part of the CBA. It's going to incrementally increase every single year, but only a measly 600 and change. Actually, 638,000 is how much more the salary cap is. But that has nothing to do with the meeting with the planning committee, strategy committee, I think is what they call themselves, over in MLS.
What strategy?
Well, that's here's the thing. There was a very long article in The Athletic that outlined what the strategy committee does, who it's made up of, and I don't have it in front of me as far as what the owners were exactly, but I do remember it had like the owner from Vancouver. It has, I think, Dan Hunt from SC Dallas in there. Might have had the guy from Charlotte. It has a mixture of owners, about 6, I think it was. Some owners are more conservative. Like the Charlotte owner is a little more aggressive, wants to be the newer owners tend to be more aggressive. I think there might be an LAFC representative in there as well. But in general, though, this committee tends to be conservative. And I understand that when you're planning your retirement to maybe plan it conservatively, but when you have Messi in your league for only 2.5, potentially 3.5 years, you need to be aggressive now. And so they've only passed a couple of minor little things. They've very, very small, things to speed up the game, really nonsense, if you will, but no fourth DP and no extra money, Ed.
Yeah, I think it's Major League Soccer. They figure out what they're going to make. Make money next year off of just Messi by himself. But yeah, I think it's too conservative. It's like you said, the time is ticking, and it was Major League Soccer's opportunity for them to start thinking about attracting some of these players that are going to Saudi Arabia. $600,000 isn't going to do much in that sense, because a lot of these players that are going to Saudi Arabia, they're getting millions of dollars. We can't compete. That's what it comes down to. Major League Soccer can't compete. Our soccer quality is still, I think, a little bit better than theirs because of all the extra players that they have, in the Saudi league, which aren't, I think, to our level. But they're getting all the incredible players, and we're not going to get none of that unless they're players that are towards the end of their career, who are basically coming over here to retire. And but yeah, all the good ones that are still within a decent age where they could play for this league longer. They've moved on to Saudi Arabia, and there's nothing we can do about it. I think it's a bad move, and we might pay for it in the long run. What's probably going to happen is next year they're going to put in the fourth DP. I would hope they give us 2 more DPs.
Right.
It's time for them to scramble at next year, because they're not going to have much time. They're not going to have they can't say Messi's in our league to attract more people, because they're going to be like, oh well, he's going to be gone next year. So what's a 3-year contract?
And we kind of chatted about this, and that's where my mind is that the league, the owners right now, and here's the thing. Hang on one second. I see this a lot, and Tank is doing this as well. Garber out. Garber does what the owners want him to do. He puts things in front of the owners. but it's not his decision to make. I don't think Garber is the problem. I think Garber has been the best thing for this league. The league was dying, right? And you could say, well, he's done a great job, but his time is up, and that may be true because everybody is got a time limit, right? Like I follow Disney closely, and you're a great CEO of Disney until you've stayed too long. And kind of like that's where Bob Iger is right now. He was great till maybe he stayed a little too long. And so maybe Garber's at that point. But I wouldn't blame Garber for a lot of what's that?
25 years.
Yeah, it is a long time. But I wouldn't blame Garber for all these issues. You could say maybe he doesn't fight hard enough. Maybe he's not providing a compelling enough argument to the owners, and that's possible as well. I don't know. We're not in that room. But at the end of the day, he just does what he's told to do. He's a mouthpiece for the owners. And these owners, and so in this article I was reading, they did talk about how slow the owners are to react. Everything that was being talked about, they just look at it and say, we need to analyze. We need to spend time to analyze. So right now, they're seeing what Messi can do with the league. They're seeing what his impact can be, or a player like him can be. Because if every team in the league could have a Messi-like player, then it could have a similar impact in other teams around it. But they're at this point just looking at it. Now they're like, let's analyze it. So they're going to take a year or two to analyze this. And then they can't quite decide where is the best place for investment. Is it in the infrastructure, meaning building up the developmental system more, better facilities? They're their mind is really, really heavily in subscriptions. We're now a sports team that is talking like a Disney in a sense, because Disney now has Disney Plus, and they're very concerned about getting subscribers. And MLS is now talking that same language. They're just concerned about getting subscribers. Now, of course, it's easy to get subscribers when you spend more and get, if they open things up, they could actually get more subscribers. But right now, I don't think they feel like they need to. Messi's already done that for them.
They're making money, and I think they're just going to sit back and say, okay, well, we really don't have to do anything for this year because Messi's doing it for us. He's making the money for us, and we're okay.
If I'm a billionaire, I say, why should I spend more money now? I don't need to. Now, that's, of course, not having long-term vision, right? That's having short-term vision. But, that's possible that's where their mind is. Like, why should I spend a bunch of money now when I don't need to? Because Inter Miami's already done it for us. They already got Messi. He's already bringing us tons of extra money. We're getting all the subscribers we need, and we're selling more jerseys than ever before. So why spend more money? Now, of course, somebody like the Moss brothers and like the LAFC guys and stuff like that, they want to spend, of course, because they see different. Tony Ack saying, the Moss brothers have shown that you can make money by spending money. And that is true. And that also brings up making money. That brings up the tour that I saw in the chat a few times, people talking about the preseason tour. And I know you mentioned it as well in a chat with me.
Well, the one that I was surprised about was El Salvador. That's that one.
Right.
I think
so January 19th, El Salvador. They're playing in El Salvador. Then 10 days later, they're in Saudi Arabia for 2 games. On the 29th and the 1st, they're playing 2 games in Saudi Arabia, which are the 2 games that I think they first said those leaks were wrong. They said it was not true when it was true. Then
they were just mad because the leak came out before they were able to.
They weren't ready for it. I think actually they didn't say it wasn't true. I just think they basically said that no comments were made. We didn't say it. They didn't say it's not happening. Then from Saudi Arabia, and Ed, I know you're well traveled. You're a military guy. Is Saudi Arabia and Hong Kong? How far away are they? Is it a short flight? Is it a long flight
No, it is kind of a long flight. It's
from Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, it's pretty far. So
because 3 days later they're playing in Hong Kong.
That's at least an 8-hour flight.
And from Hong Kong, 3 days later, they're playing in Japan. And that's where, this is where the Moss brothers are showing you how to make money. They're milking that cow. Messi is mooing all night. And they're just sitting there going,
that money. Get that money. Make that milk.
They're just squeezing those, teats. I think that's a technical term. Sports Shorts, our young friend here says jet lag will be crazy. And that is, I think, the concern. Yeah, I'm curious how much they're getting paid for all these games, but that is definitely happening. They're making, because they're basically doing the same thing that European clubs do. Your Manchester Uniteds, your Real Madrids, they go on these world tours. A lot of them come here, right? And they get paid a lot of money to go on those tours. So Inter Miami is doing that now, and so they're making some bank. But the concern then becomes: are you prioritizing padding your wallet over the health of the players? Are they going to be jet lagged? Are they going to be too tired? Are they going to have anything left in their tanks for forget about the MLS league, for the Champions Cup, CONCACAF Champions Cup, which starts before the MLS league season plays. So they could be in fine form because they've played some good games, or they could be jet lagged and spent, and Messi needs a break.
Yeah, that's something. I had a little issue with my sound for a second.
I know, that's why I kept talking, because I could see you were having problems. So I'm like, let me just keep rambling on until he figures out his problem.
I figured it out, Peter Brown. So we're good. But I'm afraid that they're gonna also get too tired. I mean, they're flying basically on the other side of the world.
Yeah,
and it's hopefully those 5 games will be it.
I would imagine. When does the Champions Cup start?
Good question. Not really sure when exactly it starts, but I think the first games are the end of February, if I'm not mistaken. Which I think, the Champions League will probably start, and then Major League Soccer, I think, starts in March, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it might start a little bit earlier this year, but our first game. Scroll. Looks like, is that true? Hang on. Is our first game Miami? Let's just do a search. Miami. Let's go backwards. I'm trying to, because it looked like the first game might be in March, if I got this right. That's late. So the first round of the CONCACAF Champions League starts February 6th. The first game is Orlando City versus Calvary. But then when I scroll, I don't see Miami coming in potentially until March 5th. So maybe we're starting a little bit later than I thought.
They might be able to squeeze in another local game,
because it looks like we enter the tournament in the round of 16. That's accurate, I think, because you sent me some screenshots earlier in the week.
Yeah. So they'll probably be able to squeeze in another game, but hopefully it'll be a local game. And we'll see. We'll see what else they announce before Major League Soccer starts.
And there is no announcement yet of when the MLS season will start. I don't think, but generally it's around that time. So, Louis is confirming that it is March 4th.
There you go.
So my on-the-fly search was accurate. So Mike V is commenting, those 5 games won't be it. Gotta squeeze in an Inter Miami New York Red Bull match to get the last out of those teats from the locals. So he's thinking, I guess, just need at least one local preseason match, and that's possible.
And go for the New York team because there's a lot of New Yorkers here in South Florida. So
right. Tony Axe reminding everybody that the schedule for the MLS will come out in just 3 days. First game will probably be late February, which is normally the league starts late February, early March, somewhere in that neighborhood. So
when we come back, there'll be a lot of more news.
Yeah.
Major League Soccer for Inter Miami games and stuff like that. So
yeah, but by then, I mean, right now, also teams are starting to talk, and as far as players, so we, the one thing I keep hearing about as far as players' movements and stuff is that Gregory could be on his way out because apparently Bahia is working on a deal, and I think there was one other club that's interested in him as well. I don't know if it was Independiente, but Bahia in Brazil. And it sounds like he wants to go back as well. And I'm surprised by that. I thought he enjoyed his time here in Miami. So I'm surprised that he would express interest in going back. That would be a big loss.
It would be. And I'm kind of worried because I think they let go of Arroyo, which was another defensive midfielder. Even though Gregory was much of a defensive
midfielder. And that was, they Tank is saying Gregory was supposed to leave last summer. There was rumors about him getting purchased, and I guess it's the same rumors. I mean, they're not giving him away for free. But I think with him being out for an extended period of time, I guess they showed that, hey, we can play without him, and that Arroyo can be a good replacement. And from what I had read was Arroyo, they did not renew his deal, but they were still talking to him.
Yeah, and I saw his Instagram still has Inter Miami on there. So
that could Arroyo is cheaper than Gregory.
Definitely.
And I don't think he's as good as Gregory, but he was adequate. He was okay. He did a pretty good job, right?
Right.
So that could make sense to bring him back, even if you've got to give him a small raise. It still costs a lot less than Gregory.
Yeah.
But by the time we get back, we should hopefully see some sort of player movement, some wheeling and dealing. Will Mr. Glass, Robbie Robinson, who apparently I think I saw today was his birthday or yesterday, so happy birthday to him. Will he be back? Will he be traded away? These are all kind of things that, one goal reminding us that Gressel is a good rumor. Julian Gressel, who also played for our head coach in Atlanta, possibly there's rumors that they're talking to him. And if Gressel comes in, does that mean that they ship Yedlin out? And remember, it's not as easy as just cutting him because they're under contract.
Right. Trading him, possibly.
You've got to trade him.
And there are teams out there that will probably want to have him on their team. So
would Seattle bring him back? He loves Seattle.
He loves his Seattle. He loves his Starbucks.
Well, I mean, he that was his first MLS club, and I think he really made that his home. I don't know if he grew up there. I don't know where he's from, but I know I watched something about him, and he talked about how his love is still Seattle. That's why like his company brand, he made a clothing line. It's kind of like similar to Seattle colors because his love is still there. Tank saying Yedlin has to go. Do you feel like Julian Gressel is an improvement over Yedlin, Ed?
It might be, and the thing is, Tata knows him.
He does.
And it's probably him saying Tata's probably the one interested in having him come back because he knows what he can play, what position he could play. So I would imagine it's something they're talking about.
Yes, so there's definitely there's definitely players that have to go every year. There's quite often it's a player you don't expect. I would imagine you might see Negri out because he barely played. So, do we need him? Can we get rid of him?
The thing is that Noah Allen looks like he might go on loan, so then Negri would probably be needed.
But is Noah Allen, where was the loan
on that
for?
Side.
I know Noah Allen's training with another club, but where would this loan be, Ed?
I think it was Preston, if I'm not mistaken. And he does have, if I'm not mistaken, a European passport, so he could possibly go. Yeah, he doesn't need to get a work permit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who else would you like to see get out of here? Who do we want to kick to the curb?
Kick to the curb? Well, gosh, for the most part, I think a couple of defenders, man. Right now they're escaping my mind, but I think we could probably keep Sailor because I think he's got his youth for him, and he could probably cover for when somebody's not there. Kristoff, maybe it's time. His positioning was good at some games, but some games he was just too slow.
Yeah, he was definitely slow.
So maybe he's a candidate to go. But these guys have contracts. Also, that's Tank saying Coco Jean, he's probably gone.
How about Chris Arjun throwing his Sailor and McVeigh? That can go.
McVeigh definitely. Yeah.
One rule and one goal throwing in Mota as well.
Could be. Though if we get rid of Gregory, Mota could probably.
I would keep Mota, and they're not the same player. Yeah. They actually played well together.
Right.
But Louis is saying he'd be surprised. I am surprised Mota would be out, but who knows? Could be rumors. Exactly. Could be rumors. I think somebody in the chat had said with all the lack of changes. And we didn't really go into what those changes are. Basically, most of the changes that they put up were just to speed up the game. It reminded me a little bit of some of the changes that baseball made. Baseball made changes to their rules in the recent years to just kind of speed up the game. And that's what a lot of the MLS changes were if you fall down on the ground and crying that you're hurt, and if you're down there for, I forgot what it was, like 15 seconds, then you have to leave the field for 2 minutes. Right. If you're a substitution, you take too long to get off the field, then the sub that's coming in has to wait a period of time before they can come onto the field. So it's all just, a lot of it was just speeding up the game, other than some minor things like if you sell a player, now some of that money can go to general allocation money, which is just confusing. But somebody was saying with the lack of changes, there's no fourth DP, that Inter Miami could be in trouble because they have plans on bringing in so many big name players, but now they really can't. Luckily, the rumor is if Suarez comes here, he will be a TAM player and will not be a DP. So we all assumed they needed a DP because of Suarez, but not the case.
Yeah, he just wants to play with Messi, and he'll take his million and change and call it a year.
But I'll tell you, I've been saying I'm concerned about having Suarez for a long time because of those knees. And then recently he comes out and tells us what he goes through on a daily basis to get himself just walking. He basically gets shots of whatever, cortisone or something into his knees. He walks with so much pain. Now, I know he produced at Gremio this last year, but holy cow. I mean, and I know somebody in the chat, I think Francisco, is asking how many games is Inter Miami going to play. Luckily, without the U.S. Open Cup, we were talking about 4 potential championships they would have had a possibility to get. Now it's only 3. I haven't counted how many games it is, but it's a lot. They're playing a lot of games, more than ever before.
Yeah, I think it was LAFC played like 52 games or something crazy like that. So that's something, we might be able to get to 50 games if we get the finals and all that.
Right.
So
Chris Arjun agreeing with me, Suarez on bad knees will be a disaster.
And
Louis says he's coming. Deal with it. Basically, it's like, stop bitching about his knees. He's coming, whether you like it or not.
And one of the things that people are talking about, Campana apparently has interest from other teams. So there's that rumor that he might go.
And that's an interesting thing, though, because we need Campana or a player like Campana, meaning He's a young DP. We need at least one young DP so that we can have 3 U22 initiative players, which we have. We've got 3 U22 initiative players, and the only way you can get those 3 is if you have one young DP, which triggers the 3. So if they sell off Campana, and as much as I love Campana, if they make money and sell him off, I'm all for it, because that's what you want out of your club. Every club needs to be a bit of a selling club, and you can't always hold on to everybody. But they need to bring in another player that fills that U22 DP spot then, so that they can keep the 3 U22 initiative players, because, you know, them's the rules, as I understand it.
Them's the rules. Yes, exactly.
All right, Ed. Well, I think we covered a lot and actually didn't cover as much as I wanted to. I wanted to go into a little bit more detail on some of those MLS massive rule changes. We just ran out of time. There's so much to talk about. It's crazy that this is the last show of the year. I think this has been an amazing year, and you know, maybe the first show back from the year, we can kind of do a retrospect and kind of look at like what we were happy about in 2023 and what we're excited to come in 2024. Maybe we could do something like that in the first show of the year that we do. But it's been an exciting year.
It'll probably be an extended show, because there really is going to be a lot to talk about. A lot's happening. Trades are going on. And yeah, we're going to come back, and there's going to be like tons of stuff that we're going to need to cover. But Peter, I wanted to remind everybody to watch Futbol Miami TV tomorrow en español, en tu idioma. We're going to have Fernando, what's his name? Fernando Schwartz. He's a huge Mexican journalist. Probably he's an OG.
May the Schwartz be with you.
So we're going to have him for as a guest. And I also wanted to mention, don't forget, that's tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. We're going to have him. And again, I'm having an issue with my speaker for some reason.
We can hear you.
Okay, that's all that matters. So yeah, I just wanted to give that shout out. Oh, and also wanted to talk about, I want to thank the Battered Herons, because they mentioned us, and we're mentioning them right back. I think they got a show later on tonight. If you guys want to get your Inter Miami filled, I think they're going to be at 9 p.m. So go check them out, and don't forget to check us out tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. with our guest Fernando Schwartz, a legend of Mexican sports.
Nice. May the Schwartz be with you tomorrow.
There you go. Nice. I see what you did there.
All right, well, everybody, it's been, like I said, it's been an amazing year. You guys in the chat that are here each and every week, we thank you so much. You guys make the show what it is. And a special, huge thank you to our Patreon members, those of you that have decided to help support this channel for only $5 a month. We really appreciate that. It's not a requirement to watch this or listen to this channel, but it is very much appreciated for those of you that choose to go that extra mile with us. So everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Hope you have a safe one and have fun this holiday. And be safe on New Year's, because we're not going to see you. However, you will see another video with us later this week. There will be a construction update. So look forward to that. And we'll see you next year, everybody.
I'll see you tomorrow in español.
All right. Hang on. Where's the outro? Here we go.